How much would you pay for an extra day? The clockman asked the child. Not 1 penny, the answer came, for my days are as many as smiles. How much will you pay for an extra day? He asked when the child was grown. Maybe $1 or maybe less, for I have plenty of days of my own. How much will you pay for an extra day? He asked when the time came to die. All of the pearls in all of the seas, and all of the stars in the sky. I can still remember vividly the first time I saw Angela Mayer. She was just over there in that section, and I was standing towards the back. She got up to go to the bathroom, and I still remember she was wearing a kind of a tropical blue shirt, the same color of my walls in the house that everyone wonders why I want to keep it that color. Now you know. Tropical blue with white pants, and man, was she stunning. I watched her walk across the room. I was struck by her incredible beauty. Who was this gal? Who did she come with? Is she single? Is there something in my teeth? Oh no, my fly's down. Needless to say, I just turned around and didn't say hi at that moment. I wouldn't be brave enough to introduce her just then. It would be a couple months before a friend would introduce us briefly at a restaurant. Over the next few months, we would get to know each other casually. Each Sunday, a group of us would head out to dinner, and she and I would always find our way to be near one another. It was a few months before she accidentally asked me on a date. She said, "Would you go to Cirque du Soleil with me?" And I said, "Are you asking me on a date?" And my friends all looked away. She said no, but we went anyway. She wasn't so sure she was thinking romantic. I had made up my mind. In Blessed John Paul II's play, The Jeweler's Shop, we learn the story of Andrew and Teresa, two young lovers who get engaged. Andrew speaks of Teresa in this way. Teresa was a whole world, just as distant as any other man, as any other woman, and yet there was something that allowed one to think of throwing a bridge. The more time I spent with Angela, the more intrigued I was, and the more I would want to know about this other world. And so I had made up my mind that I would throw a bridge. We would spend quite a bit of time together over the course of a month, beginning with that accidental date to see Cirque du Soleil. She would repeatedly let me know that she wasn't looking to date, but it sure seemed like it to my friends and I. Wasn't just me, I promise. One day, in these magical words, after a day spent together at Fountain Hills and having a picnic and all these things, she said so beautifully and eloquently as we walked in the door of her house, "I guess we're dating." I said, "Is that a good thing?" And she said, "I think so." And then we shared a very awkward kiss, which we both would agree was not magical. But we spent plenty of time figuring that out. So what did I learn about this other world, and who was this Angela Mayer? I can best describe her by describing her with the words her friends shared. And I had prepared this nice eulogy, and I'll tell you a quick story. I don't write my talks when I talk, and Angela always didn't like that. So I decided that I would write this eulogy. I would type it up, have it prepared for her, started it, did it all. And the fun thing is that whenever I've written a talk, this always happens, my printer stops working. And I kid you not today, the brand new ink did not print this eulogy. So there you go, Angela, I tried. But I can tell you what her friends said and paraphrase. Her friends would say that Angela always brightened a room with her smile. Her friends would say that when something was wrong, they knew that Angela could cheer her up. Her friends would say that when Angela didn't disagree with them, she didn't just keep quiet, she told them. Her friends say that when they would eat a Big Mac, Angela would tell them why they shouldn't. She was sincere, she was honest, she was devout. This is what I would learn. This Angela, she would laugh at my jokes. And some of them were pretty bad. Of course, I learned recently as I've read letters that friends have sent me about her, that I wasn't the only one who felt that way. Her friends from college would say, and you know, Bob and Nick would say, Angela was the only one that would laugh at my corny jokes. And I thought, oh, it wasn't just me. But Angela, in addition to the human qualities that we all got to know and love, Angela was always, always seeking the face of Christ. In middle school and high school, Angela would dive into Bible study and youth group and would commit herself to Christ and to becoming a new creation. And Angela would commit herself to becoming a new creation over and over and over again in her life. Even to the point of moving to Arizona, because she knew that this is where she needed to be. She just simply knew she had to be here. She, for some reason, fell in love with Arizona, knew no one that lived here, and a friend brought her on a trip so that she could confirm that diagnosis of her love of Arizona, and she did. And she knew that she could be whole here. She could be herself here. She could be who God created her to be, and she did not know what that meant. Contrary to the story I tell people, she didn't come here because she saw me on an online dating ad. Took a while, but I remember being so struck by that passion, that desire to be whole, to be the person God created her to be, to become new, to become the one that God spoke into being. And I fell in love with that new creation. I fell in love with that woman, and I would fall in love with her over and over again as she continued to rededicate herself and to recommit herself and to become more and more like Christ. And then we became a new creation. As we decided to get married, we knew that we weren't just getting married because we both thought each other, we were hot for each other or anything like that. She was pretty hot for me, but we knew that if we were going to get married, we were going to commit ourselves to live the sacrament of marriage to the fullest, and that God would make us one, and that we would become a new being, and that we would love each other to the end. We would watch movies like The Notebook and see as the couple died in bed together, say, I want to be that. We want to be that couple. That's what we wanted. And so we got married and we made that commitment. And Angela would say to me constantly, we're getting married because we're going to lead each other to heaven. And I remember a specific moment in our engagement when I realized that this human love that I was experiencing with Angela was only for a time. Even though I was thinking, 80, 90 years old, I'd have to say goodbye, I remember thinking, she's not mine. She's just mine for a time. And I remember this sadness. And I just said, okay, God, well, let this be the best 80 years, 60 years, whatever you can give us. He gave us 6.